You are now live on air.
You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound. It's good to be back. We'll drop the music out here. So, it's been an interesting day here. I come home this morning. Wasn't sure if I was even going to get the promo out. No power, no internet, no way to gain access to the front side of the home. The street was all blocked off. There was a home fire across the street. With the wind chills and temperatures, by the time they turned the power back on to the neighborhood, the temperature had dropped, between 10 and 15 degrees. I've been fighting all day to get that back up, trying to get the promo out, so that hopefully we're able to produce yet another fine and entertaining show for the listeners. With that in mind, last week, Leighton Harrington. Man, I'm telling you what a trip. He was just a great guest to speak with. Excellent person to talk to about the hobby. Very informative. And quite a bit of passion. Apologies for the background noise if that's coming through. Apparently the fire department is back out here again. Hopefully they do not kill the power. That will knock the broadcast off the internet. So if we suddenly drop out, there's your reason. But we do hope that that does not happen, and that everything powers to be remain intact, and that we do get the show out. As I was saying, though, with Leighton, great guy. We had a couple of other topics that we would have liked to have covered. We kind of ran out of time, but that's okay. He will be back, and he will be back soon. So, it sounds like we've got another very entertaining show to look forward to, another good time, and we'll see how that goes when we get to it. Tonight's topic, or I guess before I go into tonight's topic, I should mention too that we have some new listeners in the house, quite possibly. And for those who are tuning in to Beyond Sight and Sound for the first time, welcome. Enjoy the show. Hopefully you like it. And you never know. You just may learn something. And at the very least, hopefully, you have a good time with it. I also believe that out there in the crowd, there could be some new listeners live to the show, such as Supradrew and Jack of all Trades from YouTube. So if they're out there, hello, thanks for dropping in. And for you folks that follow YouTube channels, check them out. You can search YouTube for Supradrew or Jack of all Trades, and check out some interesting videos on coin roll hunting or even metal detecting. So there's something else to check out if the weather's got you pinned up indoors and you can't get out and do any hunting, much like myself here in Ohio. Right now, Columbus is the tip of the iceberg for us, so to speak. But tonight's topic is going to be open lines with the machines and equipment we carry and use, and why. Sometimes different situations that we're in dictate different machines or equipment. Maybe the style of hunting that we do at times dictates a different machine or a different coil. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on it, what you may carry and use. Before we go any further, though, everyone that follows on Facebook, I'm sure, has seen the posts alluding to some things on the horizon. We've got some very interesting things coming up over, say, the next month, maybe month and a half, something like that. And we are starting tonight with breaking the news, the exciting news, I must add, of one of the first announcements. Beyond Sight and Sound is now been running for over a year, as well as the Beyond Sight and Sound group on Facebook. We've been trying to do things the best that we can, enjoying the hobby, spreading the good word about the hobby, as well as trying to motivate, inspire, and support others in the hobby, and most importantly, doing it the right way and enjoying it. And we've done well. I'm very happy with the way things have went over the last year. I cannot complain. But in an effort to mix things up and attempt to enhance the show's format and content as well as the listener experience, many of you know that I run solo. And I welcome many people that they're more than welcome to drop in anytime, just out of the blue, sit in on the show with us, stuff like that. And tonight comes the announcement that moving on from here, Beyond Sight and Sound has now picked up a co-host. Yes, that's right. A co-host. I've kind of looked around, I've thought about it before, and things have just, projects take you different ways or whatnot, and finally we've just decided, you know what, maybe it's time to bring in a co-host and see if we can amp it up a notch. And going forward from here, we will be going a little more hardcore. People have known that we are passionate about the hobby, but now we're cranking it up. So with that in mind, I would like to introduce, I do have someone on here with me. Yes, I do. Isn't that interesting? But I would like to go ahead and introduce the person who will now have the title as co-host of Beyond Sight and Sound, Mr. Kenny Moore, Dirt Bandit 33. How is it going, brother?
Man, it's going, and it's going good, and it's cold, and I'm tired of it. I want some heat, man.
So do I. So do I. When I saw that there was a house fire across the street this morning, I thought, man, that's kind of a bad way to look at it, but maybe that thing's hot enough to thaw some ground in the curb strip.
You know, I'm just glad nobody got hurt, though. That's the big thing. You know, it's unfortunate that happens, but that's what winter brings. I mean,
right.
You get, people put stuff in different places to try to heat their homes, and you just overlook some things. So you gotta, dot your I's, cross your T's, and make sure everything's in order, or it could cost you dearly. For their sake, nobody was hurt. Hopefully the insurance is there, and they can move on.
Right, which I should mention, people who saw the video on my Facebook timeline this morning, the house was a complete and total loss, but like Kenny said, no one was in the home at the time. The animals even got out, so that was good. No one was hurt.
Great, and let me say, Josh, I appreciate that. You brought me aboard on here. I've listened to this show for a while now, and listened to many of the guests that's come on this show, and conversate a lot with the listeners of this show, which are just absolutely just great people. Would love to hunt with them, and it's just
absolutely.
I'm honored to be a part of this show, and I'm telling you what, we're going to kick this thing in high gear. We're going to get some really fantastic guests on this show, and we're going to cover stuff from point A to point B, as I always like to say. And you just never know what's going to happen. We don't script anything. We don't look anything up. We just sit at the round table and we talk metal detecting, and we talk the hobby that we love so much. So with that, let's get rolling, brother. That's
right, because I mean, I've had guests ask me before, well, do you have anything scripted? And it's like, scripted? The closest thing to a script we have here is the promo. Once we go live, there is no net. We have no clue what's going to happen, who's going to call, when they're going to call, where the topics are going to lead, or how it's going to end up. And that's part of what makes it so interesting. Absolutely. And we do have some interesting guests coming up in the future weeks, moving forward and continuing on from there, I'm sure. So for the listeners, stay tuned. I'm telling you what, you thought tonight, what's he alluding to? What's this announcement? What? He's got a co-host? Wow. Well, stay tuned. We've got some very, very interesting guests on the way.
We do indeed.
And I think that it's going to make for some very entertaining as well as informative shows. And people may just learn a thing or two.
That's what's great is, it's like tonight, for example, we want to discuss, what machine do you use? Why do you use it? And not just the machine. What pinpointer do you like? And why do you like it? And this is not, let me just clear something up here, because I don't want the listeners to think that this is a machine war, because it isn't. All you have to do with any machine is know it. It doesn't matter what machine you owe, what budget you fall in to get whatever machine. If you know your machine and you become one with it, then you're going to go out and you're going to dig history.
That's right.
Right. The topic is what machine do you use and why?
Exactly, because the important part is you have to find what works for you. With these shows, when we're talking about specific models or brands, that does not mean that we're downing anyone else's detector, because your detector works well for you in your particular situation, and that's great. That's the important part. Find what works for you. Spend the time to learn that machine. I don't care if you've got, say, a low-end bounty hunter, or if you've just went out and flopped down the cash for the new MineLab GPZ 7000.
That is a deep pocket.
Yeah, it is, if you're flopping down money for that. But you have to spend the time with your machine. You can have the best equipment available on the market, but if you don't have the experience in the field or the time with the machine, you may not produce finds.
No, absolutely. And as far as the relic aspect of it goes, and I'm sure with coins too, I mean, when you do research, you want to research maybe individuals, historical individuals that lived in certain places that maybe you can get permission to hunt. But with me and a lot of folks down here in this area, you don't even go out and try to relic hunt without, for one, you need to know where the action was. That helps.
Absolutely.
You have to do the research, and it doesn't matter if you've got a $10,000 machine or if you've got a $150 bounty hunter or whatever it may be. It's worthless if you don't swing it over a target.
That's right. Low and slow. Keep the coil to the soil and do the best that you can. It's not a competition. It's not a war. All we're doing is getting out there and enjoying the hobby the best way that each of us know how in any given particular situation. And that's the important part. If you want to, say, compete with yourself, so to speak, hey, last week I was out and I dug this really cool flat button. This week, I want to find another one, or I want to find a dandy button, or something, because to each person, the finds are different in different ways. Some people, maybe they're more excited about that Civil War bullet that they just dug, rather than, say, the silver $50 they just dug. It's all on the preference of the hunter. But each of us put our time in, and we try to do the best that we can with it. And the experience with the machine does go a long way. And sometimes, depending on where we're at, like you said, maybe that's a different pinpointer you're carrying. Maybe that's a different digger you're using. Maybe you've got a different technique of using your detector. Maybe you take more than one detector. Keebler from Stealth Diggers. He's got 5 or 6 of them in the back of his van, it seems like. You just never know.
I can relate. I've got an AT Pro, which I love. I have an AT Gold, which I love. I have a Garrett Infinium, which I'm learning. That's courtesy of Mr. Chris Engel. Thank you, by the way.
Right. Very, very cool of him.
Also, which is a pulse induction machine. But let me tell you, I am very proud owner of an XP Deus.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Dirt Bandit has a new addition to the arsenal. Well,
it's like this, guys. You guys see my videos. For those who haven't, shame on you. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, the Garrett has done me well. And in my area of hunting, a lot of the targets, are shallow enough for me because I do research, and a lot of times I find places that's not been hit a whole bunch, you know,
Right.
And some it hasn't been hit at all.
Yeah, exactly. In your research, a lot of times you are taken off the beaten path.
Right, right. And but here's the key: the places that you know are going to have, let's say, leftovers, because I want to tell you now, there's no such thing as a hunted out. There's not a hunted out place. If it wasn't for hunted out places like my buddies, you know, Brian, Stanley, and Keith, and them guys say, if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't have anywhere to hunt. But you know, it's when those other machines, the technology has got so good now with that XP Deus, and I'm telling you, you know, my last videos even show it. Some of the places that I've been have been hunted, and they've been hunted a long time.
Oh yeah,
but the thing
absolutely.
is, the technology of that machine has reached down there, and you know, I was amazed. I mean, I took that out, and I had the Gold or the Pro running, and it just, I don't know what it was. I was, you know, I wasn't doing very well, and my thought was, well, it's just not much here. I'm gonna have to move on. And then I was like, okay. So my buddy Stanley, you know, says, hey, you know what? Here, use this Deus. And I'm just being honest with you, flat out. Probably 10, 15 minutes later, my first find was a flat button, and it was a good, actually, that was probably a good 13 inches deep, 14 inches deep maybe. And then that was the first find with the Deus. Not my personal Deus, but with that particular Deus.
Right.
And it's just history from there. I couldn't put it down. It was so addicting. I couldn't put the machine down. I was very impressed with it.
Oh yeah. I imagine too that let's see here. We've got a caller coming in. Hello caller, you're on with I hear some feedback. I hear some feedback.
I think Mr. Leighton needs to turn down his
computer.
Let's see. There. I believe that's
Sounds like he's got it. I think he's got it now. Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh.
Looks like we've lost him.
Yep, call back, buddy. Call back.
Yeah, by all means, give us a shout back there, Leighton. But yeah, they, sometimes, in these spots that seem to be hunted out, sometimes all it takes is that you just come at it from a different angle, or you come at it with a different machine, like you did with the, Deus. Or maybe you even add a different coil to the equation. That's always something too. Let's see, we've got a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hey Josh, it's Brandon. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? You're on Beyond Sight and Sound with myself and Dirt Bandit, the co-host.
I'm not quite sure who this co-host is, but I think I know that name pretty specifically.
Yeah, I think I've heard his name thrown around quite a bit over the last 6 months. He's a busy guy.
Yeah, he seems to be okay. I mean, I'm not real convinced yet, but I'll throw it out there that he seems like he's a decent guy. And I just wanted to tell you guys that I use obviously the AT Pro, and again, it's affordability, and it's also that machine seems to be a relic hound. I find more buttons and more musket balls than with any other machine. Now, I rarely find silver, unless it's Spanish silver, apparently. But
well, that's not necessarily a bad problem to have.
No, it's definitely not a bad problem to have, but still.
Right.
I have a question for your guest, or your co-host, so to speak. I'd like to know, on an average, how many Civil War bullets does your elusive co-host find on a yearly basis?
Oh my
God!
That is a good question.
I don't even know how to answer that, really.
Yeah.
A bunch.
A bunch. Wow. Now that's quite the number.
Yes, is that the technical definition?
I don't know how to, I mean, you know, you have your good days and bad days. I think I have more good days than bad days, depending on, it really comes down to the research and just removing the iron, basically, is how I'm finding a lot of these bullets. But I find probably, I don't know, if I had to get on an average, I'd say per trip, on an average, I'd probably say, I don't know, 5 to 8, sometimes 10 a trip, maybe more.
No, I asked per year.
Per year? No,
For the year.
That translates into a bunch.
Yeah,
that sounds like a bunch.
I don't know where to go from there. I mean,
Because
I find quite a bit of bullets, man.
Right, and what the listeners have to stop and remember is that Kenny is out quite a bit. So when he says 5 to 10 bullets a trip, he may be out 5-6 days that week. So that's 5 or 6 trips that he's finding a number of bullets each time.
I don't think I have lead poisoning. I'll put it that way.
Well, here's a follow-up to that. Does Mr. Moore remember the exact time that I received this bullet? Do you remember digging that exact one?
Do I remember digging that bullet?
That bullet.
Yes, I do remember digging that bullet.
I was going to say, I'm sure he does.
Can I hear the story behind it?
That bullet was dug on the first day. We got in, got parked, we were in. Everybody took off kind of certain different directions. This was at Vicksburg. I got up on the second hill up top. If John DeVille is listening, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I got up on top of this ravine, and I found an indention which looked like a fire pit. And at first didn't really find very many signals around that area. So we kind of went over to a different spot, and it got a little steep, so I turned around and came back. We came back up that same spot, and about 8 feet from that fire pit, I got a good signal. I dug it. That's the very first bullet I dug at Vicksburg. And right by me was L.A. Relic Hunter, and John DeVille. L.A. Gold was on the other side of me when I found it.
Awesome.
That's great. That gives me a little bit more story to put behind it, and I appreciate that giveaway you guys had last week, or a couple weeks ago, I'm sorry. But that is a beauty, and I appreciate the fact that you put it in a case, and I just wanted to call in and say that, Josh, you couldn't have picked a better guy for a co-host.
Well,
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks for the call, Swansea.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
You do. And we happen to have another caller on with us. Mr. Leighton Harrington has decided to drop in and pay us a visit.
Hey, good evening, guys.
How's it going, Leighton?
Pretty good. Hey, congratulations there, Kenny.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that's, I'll tell you, that's not the only reason I called was to congratulate you, Kenny. I wanted to hear a little bit about your 25th Regiment hat pin there. Tell us a little bit about that one.
There you go.
That was a, that was a shocker. I'll just start out by saying that. That was actually, I was actually just here. It was the last moment of the deal, spur of the moment. And this was actually what I call a virgin camp. And what I mean on that particular spot is I've only been hunting it about 1.5 years, which means I've been in there quite a bit. So it just goes to show you have to put coil over target.
Right.
But this particular target was up under a root. It was actually about 8 inches down and about another 5 to 6 inches under a root. And I got the signal. It was a very, it was an ironish, gruntish, but yet a good signal at the same time. It was with the Deus.
Right.
And I just kept digging. And of course, once you pull the cap off, the ground starts talking to you even more. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
So, I just kept digging in there, and what I found was it was a little tin, smaller than a sardine can. It looked like maybe an old, kind of like a tobacco can, maybe, sort of thing. I found one similar in the same spot that actually had 2 trouser weights in it the year before.
Oh, very cool.
So I get that out, and I actually I could tell there was something in it. And the tin was rust. I mean, it was pretty bad. And I twisted and this and that and, got it out. And basically it fell on the ground when I did that. And I stood up. When I saw it, I stood up and actually hit my head on a limb. And I put a knot on it. I did because I just wasn't expecting that, obviously.
Right.
Yeah,
You'll remember that find for sure.
Yeah, I will.
Beautiful relic.
It's
relic.
It is.
It was in very good condition the way it looked.
Well, now, yes, I mean, I cleaned it up, and I used a little secret ingredient there a buddy of mine, Brian, gave to me that really helped it. It still was in good shape, but it did look a lot better when I was taking the photos of it. It was bent. I'm trying to come to the fact that it was already bent, and I didn't do it pulling it out of the can. I'm going to stick with that.
Exactly. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's right. But yeah.
You clean all your finds up?
No, I don't. Okay. No, I don't. Some of them, even bullets. Some of the bullets, I don't. I like looking at it the way I found it.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
sometimes it's better off that way.
The patina gives it a lot of character.
That's
all about
exactly
the
what I
patina.
was going to say. It does add character.
Well, that's its fingerprint.
Absolutely. A lot of people ask me the same question. That's why I thought I'd throw it out there to you two guys. Do you clean all your stuff? Absolutely not. I'd rather you come over, look at my showcase, and go, oh, wow, now that's really cool. Just the way I found it. In fact, I just found it real quickly. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. I know you got some other people that probably want to get in, but real briefly, a friend of mine invited me to do a campsite similar to what you were just talking about.
Oh,
and,
cool.
Yeah, I got lucky. I got a $50 that day. Got a nice silver charm that someone, probably a soldier, lost. I never found the chain, but I did find the big charm, about the size of a $50. I left it just the way it was with the dirt on it. It's still in a little showcase. But the find of the day, that particular hunt, was an old matchbox. A brass one, had a picture of a horse on it, and it also had a little beanie, a little rider, and the wooden matches were still in it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I was afraid to take them out, Kenny and Josh. The reason why I didn't want to take them out is I know I'd never be able to put them back the way the person that lost the whole matchbox, had put them in there.
Not to mention they could crumble away.
Well, that too, and the thing is I was a little afraid also. It's got me thinking, but I brought them to a couple of the treasure shows, and people go, "Hey, maybe there's some coins in the bottom of that thing." So do I open it up and get disappointed if there's nothing in it, and all there are is just wooden matches, or do I leave it that way? So I think I'm going to leave it that way, and you know what? Somebody else will someday probably want to take the matches out. But anyway, listen. It was great talking to you guys. Congratulations, Kenny. Josh, we'll be in touch. And
Absolutely.
Great show.
All right. Thanks for the call, Leighton.
All right. Enjoy yourselves now.
You too, sir.
Yeah,
Have a
you
good
too.
night.
Bye now.
Now, I'll tell you something, Josh. That man right there has dug a lot of relics, silver and rings and whatever else.
That guy is a ring magnet.
Unbelievable.
It is. And we've got another caller on with us. Go ahead, caller.
How are you guys doing tonight?
All right.
Great.
This is Kevin Strahan.
How's it going, Mr. Strahan?
It's going all right. I want to, of course, talk about the machines people use. I've owned a Ace 250, MyLab Xterra 505, White's DFX, White's VX3, and XP Deus.
Okay.
So every machine I've liked, I haven't hated any of them. Every machine has its its own purpose, of course. And right now, with my last purchase of the Deus, I think that I have bought the, how could I put it, the Beast. I think that that's one of the best machines on the market right now. So that's the reason why I went ahead and purchased it, just because I've seen so much of what it does.
Right. From the finds I've seen from you lately, it seems like you have found your niche machine.
Absolutely.
Well, just like Mr. Kenny, I actually borrowed a machine. Believe it or not, I bought the machine without ever using it.
Wow.
That is no lie. I'd never used it. I'd picked it up and felt how light it was. I was like, man, this is weird, because whites are known to be a pretty heavy machine, and in my lab are known to be a pretty heavy machine, and I had both of those. And when I felt it, I was like, wow, so.
Yeah, it probably kind of felt like you were holding a stick.
Well, the people that don't like them call them a cell phone on a stick. That's what they say. They say, wow, you're selling your good machine for a cell phone on a stick. And
Well,
I told him, I tell people to say that. I said, look, I've seen what these things can do. I am highly impressed with how fast the processor is. And, whatever, the first day I used it, I found a 1852 half dime. I found other stuff also, but where we were was so iron infested, and that's what impressed me about the machine, is the
speed of the
my wife's
processor.
VX3. Well, yeah, my wife's VX3 would not pick up iron
Right.
at all. It would just it would null out. And I was hunting in Louisiana in a farm field, and I was missing stuff. And the reason why I know I was missing stuff was I put a bullet an inch away from a piece of iron on the ground and waved my coil over it, and I couldn't even pick up the bullet, and that was an inch away from a piece of iron.
And that can be frustrating in its own, to know that the relics are out there, but to have the frustration of knowing that you're not able to find them for some reason.
You have no idea how frustrated I was. And John's like, so actually I called White's, and I said, hey, I need to talk to the VX3 expert. And the lady on the phone said, that's me. And, she told me what to run, how to set everything up. White's has the best customer service anywhere. And unfortunately, the way that you have to run the VX3 to hear iron is all metal. And there is no beeps. I mean, everything sounds exactly the same. And I just like, I got to hear iron. I mean, I'm a relic hunter. I'm not a coin hunter.
Right.
And I sold my machine and bought the other one sight unseen, and haven't turned back. I'm impressed with it. I think it's the best machine made. I think that I've never said that before, because I've always told people I can't comment on a machine I've never used. But my lab and XPDS, I think, are number one, number two. I'm not going to say who's number one and who's number two, because that's all personal preference. But I think in the world, those are the two top manufacturers.
And they are considered by many hunters to be some of the top machines out there.
So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
once again, Kevin, I've been using that Deus, and that thing, it's just a great machine, and I don't even know. I'm just getting started with it. I've learned a lot about it in a short period of time, just like I do everything else. I've researched it, I've studied it. There's different instructional videos you can get a lot out of, but there's nothing like just getting out there and swinging it.
That's right.
But, any of the machines that you can do different settings on, like Swan's using the AT Pro, you can get signals, and you step over to the other side of that signal, and the ground may tell you a different story. You may, lower your iron on it. You may switch to, go to 0 instead of custom, and just try the different settings. A lot of people get frustrated with what they're listening to, and they just walk away from it. Don't do that. You paid for the machine.
Learn
You
it.
paid for the settings on that machine. Use them.
That's right. Learn
Find
what
that
it's telling
target.
you.
before you even dig it. See if you can improve the tone of that target before you even dig it with different settings. Just do your homework while you're out in the field, then dig your target. That's just the best way to become good with your machine. And whatever the price range in, whatever you're using, if that machine works for you, then that's the whole point.
Right, you found where you need to be. We've got another caller, 978. You're on the air.
Holy mackerel, did we get in?
Whoa. Do you recognize that voice, Kenny?
I believe so.
I do believe so. How's it going?
It's going great.
For the listeners who may not know, Digger Charlie, and I just heard Keebler in the background there from Stealth Diggers.
We are both here, and I just want to say what an excellent choice in your co-host. I can appreciate Mr. Kenny Moore's style.
Man, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. You guys have some of that style yourself. I love the vids, and even on the downtime in the wintertime, you find something to do to make it interesting, and that's what matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just trying to stay sane and have a good time, and still.
But you know what's really impressive is I believe that the breaking news I heard last night was that Keebler himself was at least over 24 days without an ox shoe.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we got to get that ground thawed.
Can I get an amen? The clinic is really paying off.
Man, he's got to be suffering like iron withdrawal or something.
Yeah, get an iron deficiency. We'll have to get something from the pharmacy for him.
Yeah, exactly. He may have to kind of beef up on the mineral supplements or something until the ground thaws.
Need more damn clean.
I've been trying to lobby everybody, and Mr. Kevin there, and John DeVille and Chris Engel to get with Mr. Don Botting on detecting doodads and get us a heater coil to put on these coils so we can just melt that stuff away and keep digging.
That's right.
Right. A heater coil for the winter and a weed whacker attachment for the summer.
Oh, there you go. Good idea. Good idea. And as the listeners know, Charlie, of course, runs the AT Pro, if I remember correctly. And Keebler primarily, he has many machines, but he primarily runs the Deus.
That's my main machine. The other machines, actually, I have 7 children, so they all swing, so that's why I have so many different machines in the back.
Yeah, he's got, what is it, like 7 detectors and 7 kids and a couple of really big magnets.
Right, yeah. Well, I wanted to say, because the conversation is about the gear you carry and why, right?
Right.
Well, we all hear people talking about what machines they carry and why. One piece of gear that I want to mention that we can't live without, and almost everyone in the group carries one, is a flashlight. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is or what time of the day it is. I can't even tell you how many times I've had to use my flashlight, and it's absolutely priceless out in the field.
And you've shown many times in your videos, sometimes that flashlight, you can use the angle of the light to sometimes bring out different details on the find.
Absolutely. Even during the daylight, you hit that thing from the side with, really bright light, and it brings out the detail. And I don't like to clean my coins out in the field. I really don't need to know what it is before I get home. But if I just hit it with a light, it really brings it out. But we also use them looking into wells. That's always an interesting thing. Cellar holes, we're looking in the walls. And obviously, we get caught out there at dusk. So I just wanted to bring that up. The flashlight is always on stealth diggers at all times, and it's just absolutely must-have piece of information. Yeah.
Agree.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I keep two in my backpack, because when I'm out real late, sometimes I have to find one to light up to find the other one.
Right. And myself, a lot of times when I'm out hunting, I've got the Detecting Doodad's tactical light mounted right on the shaft of the detector if I need it.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Can't beat that either. But that is a good point, because sometimes that's something that a lot of people don't actually take into consideration when they're talking about the gear we carry and use.
You know, it's all comes down to the simple things. It's like Finder just posted on the chat. You know, you carry a... Personally, I like the real soft toothbrush because I don't want to damage anything. I carry a little toothbrush, and actually I'll take a nasal spray bottle and put water in it. That way you can gently squirt the water on your finds, take that brush, and just the little bitty tools like that. And along with that flashlight that'll illuminate that find. And because if you're like me, it's like a Christmas present. It's hard for me to wait till I get home to see what I got. I want to know what it is.
And another point, too, is this is something that doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money. I mean, we're talking very, very nominal cost, and some of these items you've already got laying around your house.
Right, and for me, these are the things that I like to see people talk about, because we already have made our decisions on what machines and what not to own, but it's the little things that give me ideas. I seen Howard Hewitt bust out the Altoids tin with the bubble wrap in it for his finds.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those slap in the faces, you know, wow, that is so perfect and simple, and I never even thought of it.
Yeah, going, it's so obvious. Why didn't I think of that?
Right.
Well,
I love things like that.
Yeah, and, you know, to back that up, I got a buddy I hunt with, Brian, and, you know, I always take these, or was taking these little bitty, you know, the tackle box things. I'd have a bunch of cotton in it to put you know, the buttons in, or any kind of brass you may want to protect. And here he comes. He's got this, you know, kind of a pill bottle shape. You know, it's long. He's got several cottons. It takes up no space at all. So you know, you got a piece of cotton, you put the button, you put another piece of, and he just stacks it rather than spreads it. And I was like, why didn't I think of that? It was so simple.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
And I've even seen where they'll take and kind of dip those cotton balls in just a little bit of water or something. That way your finds are not drying out on you in the field, because sometimes you dig that button or something, by the time you get it home, it's been in the air for a while, it's starting to dry out, it's getting brittle, it's starting to crumble away.
Oh, that can't
There you
happen.
go, like a little relic humidor.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go.
That's a very good way to put it.
Well, it's great to talk to you guys. We'll get off the air so other people can jump in and say hello and hello, goodbye.
Well, thanks for the call, guys. Always more than welcome on the show.
Absolutely.
Good to talk with you both. Thank you.
All right.
Great, man. Thanks for the shout out.
We'll see you.
All right. You know, and I want to take some time here, and, you know, if you need to run an ad or whatever, but I want to give a shout out or two, if you don't mind there, Josh.
Sure.
And it's good, guys, to, you know, support your local guys, especially those that are with strong ethics and have the same intention as you do with your hobby. And I want to give a shout out to csrelics.com. That's Mr. Charles Stafford. You know, you don't have to live here to deal with him. You can just go right on www.csrelics.com and check him out. You know, check what he's got. He's a great guy. He's great for the hobby. It's just an outstanding. So go check the site out. That's you know, where I actually got my dais from. And he treated me right on that. It's good to just have, you know, those individuals that you can just, you know, call up and say, hey, I need this or I need that, and you can depend on them. It's going to be there. It's going to, it's good to have that just to go along with, what we're talking about with our machines and our pro pointers or whatever pointer, which is another subject I want to get on here in a minute if we get time. But I just wanted to give that shout out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always good to deal with a local dealer, but for some of us who don't have one in their area, find a reputable dealer, whether it's online, over the phone, whatever. And, as long as it's a reputable dealer that you're comfortable with, stick with them.
Absolutely. Little info, guys. Some of you may be watching videos and seeing the new orange Garrett AT Pro Pointer that most of us want. At least I want one.
Right.
And I could get one. But here's the thing about it, is there's only been so many made right now, and some distributors are getting them before others. And I can already tell you right now, I don't know if you look around some of the bigger ones, you can already see they may be out. But I've been informed that it could be a while before there's enough of them out for us to get one. But they're going to be worth the wait, I believe. I really believe those things are going to be good. I water hunt and I hunt in the rain and everything else, so I'm ready to have one.
Right. And it should be interesting to see the reviews coming in once those get out to the hands of the consumer.
Correct. Well, the thing about it is on the ones, and a lot of folks and a lot of hunters, of course, about the falsing. There was a falsing with the Pro Pointer there for a while. There was a span where there was an issue where it false in the air even, and it just the cap wasn't thick enough. They fixed all of that from the individuals I talked to. It's thicker on the bottom, and now that shouldn't be an issue anymore. So mine's on order, and of course I got mine through CS Relics, and but mine's on order, and when they come in, I'll get it.
There you go. We've got a caller on, Mr. Denny Morrison.
Hi, Josh, and hi, Kenny. How y'all doing?
All right, man. We're doing great, man. You?
I'm doing pretty great. You were talking about the Garrett pinpointers. I picked mine on order. In fact, I bought two of them. I bought one for my buddy and myself.
There you go.
I'm definitely waiting on that pinpointer. A lot of guys, and there's been a lot of talk about the old Garrett pinpointer. Myself, I've got like 3 or 4 of them. And but in Virginia, where we do a lot of hunting, and I found it so here in Ohio also, different areas, a lot of times people say they false out. We have found time and time again, if you put that pinpointer in the ground, after you dig the hole, put it in the hole, and then turn it on, it will ground balance to the soil.
Correct.
Also, a lot of people don't do this. If you have a machine that will ground balance, turn your pinpointer on, lay it on the ground, and then ground balance your machine. It will ground balance to the pinpointer. It's a great help, and you don't hear this when you turn your pinpointer on. GPX, if you don't turn your do it this way, it'll drive you nuts.
Right. Prevents the crosstalk.
That's exactly right. And a lot of people, I don't know why Garrett never put that information out. They never did. And a lot of new people bought the Garrett pinpointer, and they always said, well, it faults out. Well, it's because the pinpointer is so strong that it interferes with the metal detector that they have.
Right.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the X pointer was doing that too, simply because it was a pulse induction, pinpointer, and really all you had to do really was just move your machine over, and that took care of the issue.
That's exactly right, Kenny. You guys were talking about metal detectors. I was just sitting here writing down what I had, and I'm sure I'm missing something else, but I haven't been out in the garage and looked lately. I just sold my Headhunter Depth Pro, or Detector Pro, the other day, a guy wanted a water detector, and I said, I got one for you, and it's all in the headset. And I found a $6,000 ring with it, so it can't be too bad in the water.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Nope. And I got a Fisher F75, no, Fisher 35, F35, and a Garrett Infinium, of course. Ace 250.
Now,
I got 2 or 3 of those.
Are you talking an F35 or a 1235?
It's a 1235. Yeah.
Okay.
I use that for. I used to do a lot of hunts, and you can use that machine and you can't hardly find a 1235 anywhere. Anybody does any coin hunting in a like a club. We used to have a lot of coin hunting that for the Silver Seekers in Ohio. And that machine there, it's got a frequency changer on it. And anybody gets close to you, just turn a little bit, and you can change the frequencies. Similar to the TDI. A lot of people would have a TDI, they don't even know it, that has a frequency changer on it. You can turn it so easy, and you don't have to listen to everybody else.
Yeah, the Garretts are the same. The AT series are the same. They can switch the frequencies on them.
Right. Well, and the Xterra 70 is the same way, and the 705. You can do the same thing with those.
Right.
And, but I do have an Xterra 70. I don't have a 705. A 705, the only difference there is you get a backlight. So if you can find an Xterra 70 and you don't want to spend the big bucks for a 705, buy it. I can guarantee you they're hard to find. And I'll tell you another one, Kenny, and I don't know why you haven't used it there where you live, and it's a Nautilus.
Right. You mentioned that to me before,
but
I just hadn't made it there yet, man. I'm just there's only so many. Only so many I can use at the point, but I don't even know. To be honest with you, I don't even know anybody around here that has one. I'm sure somebody does.
Well, I can tell you, Tommy and Thomas Lynn from they're west of Shiloh. That's all they run.
Right.
And they are and they've hunted exactly the same place that you're hunting. So they are so good with that. I've got one, and I'm just learning it. And mine's the old-fashioned one where you have to hand ground balance it. Theirs is the one you push the button and ground balances it by themselves. But I run one like Dennis Cox runs. Have you guys ever heard of Dennis Cox?
The name sounds vaguely familiar.
If you go over east and go to any relic shop or any metal detecting shop, they will have something that Dennis Cox found for sale in their shops. And the only metal detector he has ever used in his whole life is a Nautilus. And his Nautilus is one of the real old ones where the handle bends around the top. And I've seen it, and this thing's put together with, what's the gray tape?
Duct tape?
Duct tape. Yeah, he's got it duct taped together. That's how he runs it. And this guy is so good when he's out in the field, not in Culpeper. You can't use it there because of the ground mineralization. But any place else he gets around Fredericksburg or Richmond, he can tell you exactly what the signal is. He'll tell you this is a U.S. plate, this is a CS plate, this is a 58 caliber mini ball, or a 69 caliber. And when he digs it, you just sit there in awe, and you can't believe it's what he says it is. Now, there's a man who knows his machine. He knows his machine.
I would say he has swung it a few times.
A million times.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the call, Denny. We've got another caller on here.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.
We'll see ya. Mr. Chris Engel.
Hello, Mr. Josh. Hello, Brother Kenny.
Hey, Brother Chris. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. Feeling a little bit better.
Good.
That's a plus.
I got that flu again and an upper respiratory infection, but it's not going to get me down.
Well, there you go. Hopefully you found time to get that dais put together.
Got it put together, but that's about as far as I got.
I call it the wink. It's just sitting there winking at you because, you know, the light on it.
Tell me
it's a pulsating light just saying, come on, let's go.
Right. You know
Kenny,
you want to take me for a spin.
You couldn't have put it any better, Kenny. Every time I walk past, I see that other thing blink. I'm thinking, it's saying, come on, it's time, it's time. I'm thinking, yeah, I know it's time. As soon as I get to feeling a little bit better, I will be out there with it. But I just want to say, great show tonight, guys, I tell you, and congratulations, Kenny.
Hey,
Josh,
thanks,
you made
buddy.
a perfect choice, man. Perfect choice.
That means a lot, man.
Yes, it does. And I'm sure some of the listeners do not find it as a surprise, where others may have been going, what? What's this?
Well, I think it's a great move, and like I say, you couldn't pick anybody better, Josh. I know Kenny will support you, and you'll support him, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, and much like, being out on a hunt and making those nice finds, sometimes it's better to have a friend along. Well, we roll the same way here.
Well, and
there you go.
I agree with you 100% there. But anyway, you guys have a good one, and I'm going to continue to listen to the show.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling.
Okay, take care, guys.
You too.
All right, bye.
And that's another great hunter right there. I hunted with him in person down in Vicksburg and pulled out probably one of the most unique finds I've ever seen. And
yeah, I was going to say, it sounds
like... I got
like...
to stand there and jump around, especially the second piece that was found that went with it, that ladder badge. It's just, I'll never forget that. If you haven't experienced that and you want to, it is on the Battle of Vicksburg video on Dirt Bandit 33 on YouTube. Go check that out. It's a video that I watch over and over. It was just such a great experience. And I'll give another shout out to Kevin Strahan and John DeVille for putting that hunt together. That was just outstanding. If you guys ever get a chance to hunt with some of the listeners you see on here, please do so, because you get to, we get to chat, we get to listen to each other, you get to call in, and that's one thing. It's good camaraderie. But when you meet somebody in person that you've been dealing with on the internet or something, and you get to go out and make finds like that, it's priceless. So if you ever get the chance to get out there and meet some of the fellow detectorists, by all means, go for it.
That's right. Sometimes it's not necessarily all about the finds. It's about the friends and connections we make with the hobby as well.
Well, speaking of that, I believe I've got some listeners, Mr. Brian Stanley, and I don't know about Mr. Keith, but they've invited me on a couple of hunts, and I hope they're listening. If they are, I appreciate you listening, and we'll be hunting again soon. I want to give a shout out to them, and just to all the listeners here for tuning in, because you guys is why we are going to do what we're going to do. We're going to bring some guests in here that's going to surprise you a little bit.
I do think so.
Oh man, it's just going to get bigger and better, and I'm excited about it. And you know me, I get flipping excited. So, talking about this stuff is why we do it. Especially right now. Even myself, I'm sitting here in Mississippi right now. It's supposed to be 11 degrees where I'm at in the morning, and some of you guys up there is going, oh, so what? It's 11 below here. Well, great, but I'm not used to it, and I don't like it. So I'm just ready to dig, baby. That's it.
Exactly. And with some of these guests that are coming up, I mean, it's hard not to talk about them, and how can you not be excited about them? All I can say at this point for the listeners is stay tuned, because we're really amping things up, and there are a couple of very near future Saturday night specials coming.
Absolutely.
And they are going to be ones that you will not want to miss.
No, you do not want to miss it.
I think that we are really going to enjoy those special shows that are coming up.
Can't wait, man.
That's right. I guess another Interesting question, though. I've been meaning to ask you sometime. Let's put the Dirt Bandit on the spot.
Oh, come on.
Out of all the places that you have had the opportunity to hunt, is any one specific place one that you find yourself thinking, man, I'd really love to go back there again? And the other side of that, I'm sure there's many places that you haven't had the chance to hunt yet that you'd like to. Do you find yourself thinking, you know, you've really got one up there at the top of the list that it's like, man, I can't wait to get out there?
Oh, brother. Well, I tell you, if I had to choose one right now, I would have to say Vicksburg, simply because it was more about the people I was hunting with than actually the finds I was finding.
Good answer.
That hunt, I don't know. I don't know how you top it. And I know that if I get to have a better hunt than I had on that particular weekend, then, man, I'm excited about the future, because it was an outstanding hunt. The people I hunted with were just remarkable. The ethics, the camaraderie, just the excitement of pulling stuff out of the ground, and, you know, going out to dinner and talking about different stuff like that made it the complete hunt. And of course, being Vicksburg didn't hurt. If I had to, and there's other places, I mean, that I've hunted that's very special. I mean, you know, just different places, but that one stands out. And I'll tell you a place that I would really, two places that I would love to have a shot. Of course, all my hunts are with permission, by the way, and so should everybody else's. I'll just lay that out there right now.
If not, shame on you.
Correct. But I would love to be able to go in and preserve some history to give back, not necessarily to keep, but I would love to hunt Gettysburg, and I would love to hunt Antietam.
Just to help and preserve that history.
Yes,
for
I would
posterity,
probably,
for the future generations.
Correct. If I could go out there and be able to say, okay, you can here's your itinerary. You can go out here and dig, turn this in or whatever, and I would have one question. I would say, okay, no problem. Can I please carry my bedroll, and can I please make a fire and stay all night out there where I'm hunting? Because that would be the ultimate hunt for me.
Right. So you're going, once I go in, I'm not coming out until I'm done.
That's it. That's it, baby. Right there.
Good way to be. Definitely a good way to be. You certainly can't beat that. And it seems like we've actually had a number of callers tonight. A number of congratulations on your newly announced news.
Man, yeah, thanks to everybody, man. I mean, it's this is a great show. I mean, and it's been, you know, it's great for the hobby. That's the thing about it, is this show is great for the hobby. And it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about anything else but, you know, what we're using, how we're using it, our preferences, and pulling out, you know, history, whether it's a cologne, whether it's, you know, a Merc, whether it's bullets, plates, or whatever it may be. It's history that needs to be saved, because, believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that would just like to see it stay in there and rot, and that's sacrilege to me. I think it, you know, it's not right. It needs to be preserved, and it needs to be displayed, and that's my stake on it.
Absolutely. It's about spreading the good word of the hobby, sharing the passion for the history, and the recovery and preservation of that history, because a number of the guests that we have had on the show, they're not out there doing this because they're trying to get rich off of it. They're doing it because they have that passion for the history and they want to recover it and rescue it and preserve it, and most importantly, display it to show others so that they can see what the ground holds for us.
It's important.
Exactly.
I mean, I asked my kids, I said, what have you learned about the Civil War? That's what I get is, we've learned a little bit, but they couldn't really tell me anything about it, and I'm thinking, gosh, so.
Right. What does the education system come to?
Yeah. We as hobbyists are historians, and that's the way it is. Do we have degrees? Well, maybe some of us.
Right.
Most of us probably do not. I know, the thing about it is if I dig a bullet and I've got somebody else over here that digs a bullet and they go, oh man, another bullet. Oh, don't do that around me.
Right.
Don't, but that bullet has just as much information or as importance as anything else you can dig over there. Right. I mean, it's all history. It all needs to be preserved. And sure, there's more unique finds than others. Would you choose a breastplate over a bullet? Well, nobody's going to say no to that. But it's still, the fact of it is the bullets, especially the round balls, the 69 calibers, the early ammo. You may be digging, especially in some places like Vicksburg that had other history there. You had the Spanish there. I mean, you may dig a round ball there that had nothing to do with the Civil War.
But it's still history.
Predated. So treasure those finds, take care of them, display them, do some research on them. So when somebody asks you about them, you can at least have some information on them.
Right. Because in a sense, we are all out there documenting the past. And these displays that we set up, our collections of our finds, are truly our journal of our adventures every time we go out and step through that porthole to connect to the past.
Absolutely.
It's phenomenal.
And I can tell you one thing right now, I'm fixing to go digging here before very long. As soon as this weather breaks just a little bit here, and I'm in there, baby. I am in the woods.
There you go. And hopefully that's not, actually down there in Mississippi for you, that shouldn't be froze up at all.
Well, it's not. It's not frozen. What we did have a moderate ice storm. I mean, we didn't have very much snow until actually last night. We had what you guys would consider a dusting. But the ground, I went out there and tested it. I mean, it's not frozen. And we're going to be back up in the upper 50s Saturday, Sunday, and then I literally have buttercups blooming over here at the side of the house, and the ice had got over it to actually protect the flower, so it'd actually be okay. If it would have been a frost, it would have killed it.
Right.
But I should take photos, but yeah, we actually have buttercups coming up already. So
I wish I could say that here.
Yeah, spring is in the air here, so I'm ready.
Yeah, I can't even get through the ground with my diggers, and I carry some pretty mean diggers. I mean, I run a Predator, I run a Leggy, I've got the 31-inch Samson, and we're not getting through the ground without a big heater.
I hear you.
But that's the way it goes, definitely.
It's research time.
That's
Everybody
right.
that's got snow on the ground, it is preparation for your next hunt. This is when you do it. Right now, this is when you pull out your laptop, your maps, everything that you use, which, by the way, we'll say this for the next show. I have some websites that some of you guys may be interested in, as far as the Civil War goes now anyway. A little tips on how you can find those camps that nobody's found yet.
There you go. And we will definitely be looking forward to those. Absolutely. But, I I think that we've made a good choice. Continuing forward with the show, we're cranking it up, and some of the listeners, they think there's been some good shows in the past. I'm telling you, you may want to strap into your chairs for some of the shows that are coming. Hold on for the ride, because we've got some real surprises coming. Some of these surprises and topics you may not have necessarily heard elsewhere yet, and it's a very good possibility that a couple of these surprises may be outright shocking.
Indeed.
But always keep 'em guessing. You never know what's going to happen next around here. I think, though, with that in mind, we should probably roll on out of here. What do you think about that, Kenny?
I think so. I think we need to get rolling, and it's been a great show. This has been awesome. I love talking about the equipment we use, the relics, the coins. This is just what we do. Any night to do this is a good night.
That's right. And for the listeners, if you enjoyed the show, make sure like, rate the channel, drop us a comment, send me a message. You want to be a guest on the show sometime, drop me a line. It's pretty painless. Really, it is. And, you got a topic you want to hear covered? Let me know. We'll see what we can do. You just never know around here. And YouTube. Check out the Beyond Sight and Sound group on Facebook. Check out Kenny Moore's channel. Kenny Moore on YouTube. Dirt Bandit 33. And yes. While you're on YouTube, drop in, check out Ohio Metal Detecting, check out Supradrew, and drop in and check out Jack of All Trades. He's got some good videos too. But
I think I'm going to do that tonight. I hear he's not too far from me. I'm going to go check those out, I believe. Also, I want to give a shout out to csrelics.com. Guys, check that website out.
Right.
And everybody have a good night.
And if you're an Amazon shopper, check out hardcorerelicrecovery.com.
Yes, please do that. All the listeners here, you know what? A lot of great listeners on here have YouTube channels. I can't go through them all. I know Ringfinder 7's got a good YouTube channel.
Yep.
There's different ones on here. Post your, YouTube channel on Beyond Sight and Sound group so everybody can see it. If they don't know it, and then we'll try to spread the word. We all help one another out in this great hobby of ours. I do my YouTube channels. When I first started doing this, it was for those who couldn't, so I wanted them to see what it was all about.
That's right. And a lot of times it's a bit of nostalgia for us to be able to go back and watch our videos from the past. And, we get to share our finds worldwide that way.
All right.
All right, folks. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, as it is radio for you, the always valued and appreciated listener. Tune in next week, or maybe sooner. You never know. But for Kenny and myself, hang in there, Kenny. We're going to get out of here.
All right.